Game 2 of a 4-game set between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves. The Braves took it on the chin in the opener, and as a result, they fell a full game behind the Phillies in the East. Meantime, their lead in the wild card race shrunk to 1 game over the San Francisco Giants. The Cardinals received 5.5 behind in that wild card race. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Braves Baseball. Ernie Johnson along with John Smoltz. And John, I guess you could call tonight's start for Mike Minor, the 22-year-old, the latest, biggest a little bit high against Atlanta. Meantime, this is a strange Cardinal team. They seem to play down to the competition.
Yeah, it's a year where you can't explain a lot of teams, really, the Braves' home success versus the road. But how about the Cardinals? Look at this right here. Versus the team plus 500, they're doing okay. The teams below 500, they should really be taking care of business. It's costing them a chance to be in the playoffs. But as you look at the remaining games left, if that's the formula that's going to be successful, well, then they're playing the right teams down the stretch.
It is the finale here on Peachtree TV for the baseball season 2010. The Braves and the Cardinals, and the first pitch is just around the bend. Two of a 4-game set between the Braves and the Cardinals. St. Louis laid the lumber to them last night, 11-4. And the kid left-hander, Mike Minor, looks in at Tyler Green hitting leadoff for the Cardinals. Here is the first pitch. Swinging and a fly ball to right. Jason Hayward makes the play. 1 down. The batting order brought to you by Stone Mountain Park and Evergreen Marriott Resort. For great getaway packages, visit stonemountainpark.com. John Jay hits second, then Albert Pujols, who homered for the second straight game last night. Matt Holliday, who was ejected last night, hits cleanup. Then Colby Rasmus, who had 4 RBIs in the opener. Yadier Molina, Pedro Feliz, Chris Carpenter hits 8th, and the shortstop Brendan Ryan hits 9th. Worked last night, they'll do it again tonight.
Well, nothing calms the nerves than a first pitch out if you're trying to get settled in a game that you realize, hey, it's a big game. I want to get into a good start, get in the dugout, see if we can keep them scoreless in the top of the first. You look at Mike Minor, you fail to realize, I didn't realize that he went to college, and talking with them earlier and trying to find out and get the feel for what he's doing and how he I don't know what's fair, how many starts to determine what kind of mentality it takes for a kid to want to be out there, but they've been working really good. He's got a good curveball, he's canned his slider, good changeup, and a fastball.
That's Tim Welke behind the plate, who barks out strike. 3-1 to John Jay. He came into the game last night when Holiday was ejected for arguing a third strike. 3-1 for Minor. Count is full. Yeah, Mike Minor went to Vanderbilt. Had a couple of pretty good lefties on that Commodore squad. David Price and Mike Minor. He was the 2007 SEC Freshman of the Year. Here in 2010, he's pitching a really big game here and gets Jay with the strikeout for the second out. Here's the way the Braves line up defensively. Cabrera, McLouth, and Hayward around the outfield. Prado and Lee on the corners. Gonzalez and Infante up the middle. Brian McCann does the catching. And Mike Minor making his 6th big league start. He is 3-0.
The one thing to be concerned today, I mean, he's going to go to his changeup. His changeup, talking to Roger McDowell, is the money pitch that he wants to go to. But can he command his composure and the location of his fastball? That is going to be very important for him when the game is amped up, whether you want it to be or not. You want to feel like you can hit your spots in a game like this. And so far, pretty good. He's going to face this lineup for the first time, and they're going to face him. We'll see what kind of adjustments are made after he goes through the lineup a couple times, the first time through.
Pujols hit number 37 last night. That leads the National League. And he's in an 0-2 hole. He's 6th in the league, batting .312. He leads in home runs. He's 3rd in RBIs with 99. Carlos Gonzalez and Joey Votto tied for the National League lead with an even 100 each. Here comes the 0-2.
One of the things Mike Minor's not afraid to do is go into a right-hander. And that's the early sign so far. You saw him go in real quick to Albert Pujols, get 2 strikes. See if he can put him away with a changeup or something to get him swinging and missing out of the zone. Which, by the way, is very difficult to do to Albert Pujols. The zone is much smaller. His eyes are very good. It's rare that you make him look bad on a pitch.
17 of his 37 home runs have come with 2 strikes. He waits on a 2-2 from the Rook. And that's a fly ball to right. And that'll be easy for Jason Hayward. And that is a 1-2-3 top half of the first. We're underway here at Turner Field on Peachtree TV. Field for the second game of this four-gamer. Here's Bobby Cox's batting order. Omar Infante, Jason Hayward, Martin Prado, 1, 2, 3. Brian McCann in the cleanup spot, then Derek Lee. Nate McLeod gets the start in center field. Alex Gonzalez at short, Melky in left. And Mike Minor looking for his first big league hit. Batting ninth, the traditional spot for the pitcher. Chris Carpenter will be hitting eighth for Tony La Russa tonight.
Well, they're up against one of the best, and if the Braves are going to be successful, they got to find a way again to stay off of his great curveball. It's his out-help pitch. It's his go-to pitch. He can throw it for strikes just about any time he wants. He's going to move it in, cut the ball. He just has all the weapons.
That ball was sharply hit, but Green threw him out. One away.
He most reminds me of Roy Halladay, meaning he's going to attack the strike zone. Hitters are going to want to attack him first pitch, as you saw right there. And when that formula works for him, he gets quick outs, he gets long innings, and that's why he pitches so many innings. That winning percentage right there is ridiculous. And he's had, let's not forget, 2 major surgeries along the way. So credit to him and his ability to work through it, and he's right back on top of his game.
Jason Hayward takes 1-0. You make the comparison to Roy Halladay, who's on the mound tonight for Philadelphia, as they take on the New York Mets, and we'll keep you posted on that. That pitch fouled off the left side. Ball and a strike. Jason's got a nice little 7-game hitting streak going. One and two.
That's that front door sinker that he will throw a lot, and if he's getting that pitch over, he'll throw a hard cutter in the hands of a left-hander, and he really does not have much chances to be successful. He tried to back it up right there with another high one, but he has all the tools. He studied film. He's very prepared on the mound. You're just going to have to be awfully good to hit his mistakes, Ernie, if the Braves have a chance to beat him tonight.
The 2-2 is fouled off. You saw Adam Wainwright last night give up 3 runs in the first inning, and then just really took on the persona there that he's so tough. It just said, that's it. When he got the lead back 5-3, it was like, now you got no shot.
Yeah, and he's the ultimate professional in that regard. That, you know, he knew that he'd been struggling. Questionable check there, but the umpire said he went, and that's that wicked curveball we talked about. This pitch right here, as you look at him trying to hold up, and yes, he did go. Made Chris Carpenter awfully tough. But back to Adam, I mean, he rarely will show bouts of emotion to the point where he snaps. And he did it yesterday in the dugout, in the tunnel, and he said, that's it. You know, it's over. I don't want to deal with that type of results, and he shut him down. Credit to him and him being as tough as he has.
So the Braves getting the full 1-2 punch here in the first 2 games of this 4-game set. Wainwright on Thursday. There's the breaking ball from Carpenter. And it's 0-2. Carpenter 15-5 with an ERA of 2.90. This is his 31st start, most in the National League. Another breaking pitch missed. 1-2.
(31-9) going back to last year. He had an unbelievable year where he missed some time and was 16-4. And quite frankly, stole probably the votes from his teammate that the teammate needed to win the Cy Young.
Adam Wainwright actually had the most first-place votes of all those pitchers, but finished 3rd as Tim Lincecum won it for the 2nd straight year. And that's back-to-back strikeouts for Carpenter. We are scoreless heading to the 2nd. in the first, and Matt Holliday will lead it off. Picked up his 40th double last night, but wasn't around for the end of the game. Was thrown out by home plate umpire Mike DeMuro. Talked to him today. I said, "What'd you say?" He said, "Nothing really, but it was that helmet toss that did it." He said, "But I threw it toward the dugout. Where do you want me to throw it?"
It's weak. It was a weak throw out,
especially at this time of the season when you're in pennant race and there's a borderline call. That's weird.
I mean, that's just a bad. That's, you know, he had to do it all over again. That's just a bad judgment call.
DeMuro at third tonight.
When he pointed, I really did think he was just fining him. They write fines down, and you can fine guys for like that. But just to throw him out, that's.
That was the first ejection of Matt Holliday's career.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know that. Umpires talk, and they know guys can be historically one way or the other. And for Matt to get his first ejection that way.
He's waiting on a 1-2 from Mike Minor. 93 at the eyes, 2-2.
Talking with Roger McDowell, trying to get a feel for, you know, coming to spring training and leaving college and having to deal with all this different transitions. He's done a nice job in the minor leagues. He's really limited the hits per innings. But one thing that's impressive, only 28 innings, only 7 walks and only 1 leadoff walk. You don't see that out of a young player or young pitcher. And I know we call him young. He did have some college to go through. At 22 years old, and he's thrown into a situation where, hey, by the way, you got to win.
You ever go back in time and picture yourself first time in the big leagues and in a situation like this that, you know, the expectations are a little heightened, a lot of folks watching a game that has some importance?
Well, let me tell you, both Glavine, myself, and Maddox had it made in the sense that we were not thrust into an environment where the team had to win and you had to win. We got a chance to 400, 600, 700 innings before we are ever any good. So, you know, you take your lumps, you learn, you get seasoned, you understand how to pitch under those circumstances with a team that wasn't as good behind you. But then when given the opportunity to have to be thrust in a winning situation, you're more prepared. These guys don't have that luxury. There's no giving up 7 runs and, well, that's part of your learning curve.
Holliday goes the other way. And there's a leadoff single here in the second. Hey, Mark Fine's with us again tonight. Mark, what you got?
Well, Colby Rasmus coming up, EJ. You know, after his 2 home runs last night, you joked that he'd have to eat Zaxby's again. So I talked to him before the game, asked him if he was superstitious. He said, no, not at all. Now, he's got a ton of friends and family here because he's from nearby Phoenix City, Alabama. A lot of people are asked if he spent time with them today. He said, no, I got to stick with my routine. I said, did you eat the Zaxby's? He said, oh, absolutely. Guys.
They got a big old bag of that stuff, and it had 4 hits and 4 runs batted in with 2 home runs last night in the opener.
Well, like I said, you know, we're not superstitious, but in my 7-game winning streak with Brian McCann, I had a turkey burger the day I pitched and cut my lawn on the tractor.
Yeah, just so you didn't walk. Yeah. That's riding around on a tractor that happens to be cutting grass. Yeah.
It's not like it's just 5 feet.
Yeah, this that was okay, and this was tape measure.
Definitely locked in yesterday. We'd like to see a little less of that. Left-hander on left-hander might give him a little more fits, get him out of rhythm.
21 home runs on the year for Rasmus. Minor looks at Holliday and comes to the plate.
But to your point, I mean, these are situations that most people now all of a sudden, well, hey, pitching-rich Braves organization, bring up another kid and he's just going to do X, Y, Z. It's not that easy, and certainly we've seen our share of pitchers who have come and gone because of that expectation and pressure. You know, I say it takes a special person to want to be in this situation and not be able to get caught up in pitching against Chris Carpenter. Because you're really not. But that's what you get sucked into, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm pitching against Chris Carpenter. I can't give up 2 runs. You're pitching against the St. Louis Cardinals. You navigate through that, and you let your talents be the gauge of which they've got to make an adjustment.
That's fouled off. Brian McCann wasn't the only one who had trouble seeing that right off the bat. It's kind of a funny time at night right now. That thing went up, and you were hoping somebody knew where it was. And John, that all sounds well and good, and I know the point you're trying to make, but in a 22-year-old brain, all of those things have to be coming into play, and you're thinking, look who's out here. So guys won a Cy Young Award. Look what we're doing. Our lead is 1 in the wild card. We're a game back. That ball is lined on the button to Hayward, 1 down.
And those are all normal thoughts. But when you get an opportunity to be around the Tim Hudsons and maybe the veterans on the staff, hopefully they'll pass on the same information saying, hey, slow the game down and pitch. Because what you do is you do get caught up in that. And there's too many thoughts that can go through your mind. And the experience that other guys have will at least let you got to still go through it, but at least lets you slow the game down a little bit.
Did you find yourself in the same role as you grew older in your career, where you would sidle up along a young pitcher and something that, hey, I kind of noticed this, or hey, this is a big game, let me try to help you through it a little bit? Or did you leave guys on their own at all in a case like that?
Well, honestly, you had to know their personality and what they could take. That's what I'm saying. Not every pitcher can be in that situation right now and deliver their best. They eventually will, but this is a sped up curve. This is actually expecting a lot more out of a player and assuming that he'll be well beyond his years. You know, you hear it a lot from rookies in other sports. It's time now, second half, they're no longer rookies. And the same thing with Jason Hayward. Well, he's still a rookie, but he can't play like a rookie anymore. He's not afforded the time that we were all afforded under no pressure to get our feet wet and learn the different things that he's going to learn now.
That ball's pretty well hit to center. Nate McLeod back and just shy of the track, hauls it in, 2 down.
But what's exciting about him having pitched in these situations and if he can emotionally and mentally handle it, that's the first question I asked Roger. How is he mentally? He says mentally tough. He's already able to adjust to certain things. You'll be that much better having gone through it than to wait your turn to have the opportunity like most of us. So the game has been accelerated, and it's his job in this atmosphere to slow it down. To your point, easier said than done.
Here's Pedro Feliz. Runner on, 2 out. Feliz hit that ball square. First and second with 2 out. He's a guy St. Louis got their hands on in August because they needed help defensively at third. He's never been known really as a good hitter, and had a couple of big games early for them and said, look, I'm not a 220 hitter, trying to defend himself, and hit that ball right on the button. So first and second, and here's the number 8 hitter, the pitcher, Chris Carpenter.
Wait till you see this stance. Wait till you see this crouching tiger stance. He's got his knees wiggling back and forth. He's going to get down and throw an emergency hack at him if he has to. This guy's a grinder and a competitor, and he wants to drive this run in just as much as anybody.
He's batting .098. Fouls the first pitch away, 0-1. He is 6 for 61. Couple of runs batted in, 21 strikeouts.
Cardinals had 7 2-out runs last night. That's good for any formula in winning a baseball game. Got to limit those tonight.
There's my 22-year-old change. 0-2. Tony La Russa's guys trying to hang in this race in the National League Central and in the wild card race. They're 5 behind the Reds, who have been struggling. Here's the 0-2. Reds have lost 5 in a row, and they trail tonight 1-0 at home against Pittsburgh. Pirates batting in the top half of the third. Look at that. Line drive to left. It scores the game's first run.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Emergency hack. He wants to put it in play, and this ball gets up. You just got to really throw anything in the dirt. You got to get this ball down. These are one of the location issues. A change up to the pitcher, and all you did right there is give him a chance to get the barrel of the bat to the ball. And you know what? These mistakes are going to happen. You just got to make them minimal and tell yourself, okay, that's it. That's all they get. And keep working off of that. Keep making one pitch at a time. But it's hard to not get caught up in all of the things that start adding in your mind, going, oh, shoot, I just made a bad pitch.
Well, here's Brendan Ryan, now the number 9 hitter, and that switch paid off well for Tony La Russa last night when Ryan, hitting out of the 9-hole, had his first multi-hit, multi-RBI game of the year.
And I said earlier, his changeup's his go-to pitch. He got Carpenter to swing at one and look bad, and he tried to go right back to it, and all he did was really, he slowed the bat down enough, meaning he slowed his pitch down enough for the bat to get through the zone. Hindsight would be throw his breaking ball down in the dirt. Anything down in the dirt was going to get him to dive out and swing at it.
So Minor trying to limit the damage here in the second. It's 1-0 St. Louis. Ran it inside and missed. 2-1. Another 2-out run for the St. Louis Cardinals. Ryan goes to right. Jason's there. That is out number 3. But the Cardinals break out on top as we head to the bottom of the second.
For the know-how question of the game built by the Home Depot. If you have a question, send us an email, and if chosen, we will answer it later in the game. Send your email to braves@peachtreetv.com. Please include your name. More saving, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot. You know, I say that before we have breakfast every morning and send the kids off to school.
Do you really?
I love that. My favorite part of the whole game.
I got a question for you.
The Home Depot question.
Here's my Home Depot question for you.
Go ahead.
How's your scorecard looking tonight?
Bad. Unbelievable. I'm nervous for the kid. I'm grinding with him every pitch, and I wrote down everything in the wrong section again.
You wrote down the Cardinals second and the Braves half of the scorecard. And so now you're starting a new one.
Starting a new one.
Shallow right by Brian McCann. John Jay makes the play, 1 down. Here's Derek Lee, who homered last night. First time as an Atlanta Brave. He's homered 5 times in his last 11 at-bats against the Cardinals. Of course, some of those in the Chicago uniform. Just before the trade to Atlanta. He waits on Carpenter, who took something off. 0-1.
Now here's a pair who, of course, in the same division for the longest time have faced each other a bunch of times. So this is the cat and mouse game when you've had that kind of history as a pitcher and watch all that film as a hitter knowing what he's going to do. It just becomes the guessing game.
This is to center. And that's 2 down. Lee came in hitting .309 lifetime with a couple of home runs against Carpenter. So quickly 2 up, 2 down, and here's Nate McLeod, who hit the ball sharply twice last night. But on both of those singles, he was erased in a double play.
Come on, Nate. I know it's the second inning, but if Chris has continued to be in this kind of rhythm and he's not bothered by anything, the Braves are going to have to find a way to disrupt his rhythm. He's a quick worker. He throws strikes, and he likes to work fast. He's a pitcher that you can get a little frustrated when things don't go right, and every competitor that's out there on the mound can have that. But they got to find ways to just get him off of his game.
Is that as easy as calling time or stepping out or grabbing dirt or something like that, or do you have to go to more extremes than that?
But you got to find a way. Because I say it's only a second, you got to find a way to get on base, get him out of stretch, do things like that, create some havoc on the bases. I mean, the Braves have to approach this game that they're going to have to do whatever it takes to scratch some runs. And that might be a little bit, take more chances on the bases, do whatever it can. Relax the game. The way you play baseball at this time of the year, the more relaxed the team is, the better it has an opportunity to be successful.
And the catch-22 there, with 21 games left, is that as that pressure is ratcheted up a lot of times, the last thing you can do is relax. How far is this ball going to go? Nate McLeod has just homered.
Ernie, I was going to call that, but I wanted to let you finish that point. I felt like he was going to hit a home run right there that was going to help relax the Braves.
There you go.
That'll do it.
Get back to your scorecard. It's a tie game.
Right here, he got a mistake, and we said you're going to have to hit the mistakes. Not every pitcher's perfect, and he got a mistake and drilled it, and it's a 1-1 game to reset the score for young Mike Minor, and that's very important to make sure you keep him in the game and feel good about getting 5, 6, 7 innings possibly out of him.
If you thought that was good news, how about this good news? Carlos Beltran has hit a 2-run homer, and the New York Mets lead the Phillies 3-2. In the bottom half of the third at Citi Field in New York. Jimmy Rollins not in the starting lineup for the Phillies. He tweaked a hamstring the other night. Their third baseman Placido Polanco revealing today that he does have a small fracture in his elbow, but he's going to play through it. He's been bothered by that in the course of the regular season, went on the disabled list for quite some time, and he'll get it fixed, but sometime after October. The 2-1. That'll be easy to handle for Jay in right. But the Braves tie this thing up. Nate McLeod got all of that one. It's 1-1.
Atlanta National League Baseball Club, Incorporated, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Braves.
All right, top of the third inning, all tied up now at 1. And the Cardinals have the top of the order, Tyler Green. Swung at the first pitch he saw in this game and flied out to right. Recently called up from AAA Memphis, and you'll remember the Braves drafted him in 2002 in the first-year player draft, but he didn't sign. Instead, he went to Georgia Tech. He was called up last year, played in 49 games, hit .222, and has had a couple of starts recently. Right now, 0 for his last 9. Rounded to third. Routine for Martin. And that is 1 down. Again, down to Mark Fine. Mark.
All right, thanks, EJ. As John Jay comes up to the plate, wanted to tell you guys that for Braves fans who aren't familiar with him, this is a guy who's been in the regular starting lineup since just after the All-Star break, hitting better than .500 against the top 10 pitchers in the National League. And this, of course, doesn't surprise me because he's a fellow University of Miami graduate. Now, that said, he is a little distracted this weekend. The big game against Ohio State. Stopped short of making a prediction, guys. Said he's hoping the Canes can be competitive. Does still work out in the same weight room where the guys work out down there. So he said, especially on Saturday with the 4 o'clock start, 3 o'clock start for the football game, a little bit distracted this weekend.
Is that Miami of Ohio?
Very nice.
How are those Bulldogs going to do this weekend?
They'll be doing just fine, as a matter of fact.
You know the only thing that would have made that more confusing?
What?
Is if JJ threw it to EJ with JJ on the mound facing John Jay.
Here comes the 1-1. Slapped in the left. Fourth hit for the Cardinals. That comes with 1 out here in the third. I really didn't think Finer was going to go through with the whole University of Miami tie-in and the pom-pom waving and the whole thing. But
he loves that.
Oh, Miami. I mean to tell you.
He's in for a rough week, I think. Playing Ohio State, right? Big Ten?
Yeah.
In the big house.
Here's Pujols. Flied out to right his first time. Remember the first time you were facing somebody you'd watched on TV and was one of the premier players in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have to go any farther than my first start against the Mets. They were loaded with all kinds of guys, with Darryl Strawberry, and just seeing him up there with the big high leg kick and thinking, holy cow, he's geared up for every fastball I'm going to throw. And what's pretty unique about that game is he was my first, and I think maybe the only strikeout I had that game. But I struck out Darryl Strawberry, and I remember going, that's it, I want to go off the mound. Why can't I leave now? But yeah, those things flash through your mind. I mean, again, different era, different time. Nothing to lose, basically, because we were losing every game we played those couple of years there for the Braves. But what a fun experience. You'll never forget your first. You'll forget a lot in between. But this kid won't forget this experience either, with some big games down the stretch.
Tapped foul, 1-2.
I also remember never getting Eric Davis out the first couple times I faced him. Like 7 for 10.
Well, Minor facing a guy who has 403 career home runs. The most recent last night to left center. Pujols waits on a 1-2 from Minor. He throws over, and Jay back easily.
Well, what makes Albert so tough, besides he is, one of the greatest right-handed hitters that we'll see, is he just doesn't give you much room. You got to be able to get him out down. You get the ball up. We saw last night, get the ball up, he makes you pay. And that's the other thing he doesn't do. The umpire misses a strike call because he's got a short strike zone, and you had two given it. You had a backup guy to bail him out, and it didn't happen.
Jim Reynolds at first said he didn't go. Bobby Cox has his hat off in the dugout.
Yeah,
and
these guys might be trigger happy tonight.
He just got tossed.
I think Terry got tossed.
The motion was made toward the Atlanta dugout. Let's see who it is.
Get the head back into the field and just do your job. I mean, too many guys. I mean, I get it. We all get heated. But does he have to wave his hand and go bye-bye? I don't think so. Yeah, I think Terry Pendleton got it, and, rightfully I'd be mad too. And this game's important for everybody. When, people don't want to come see the umpires all the time.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Pujols. Still with 1 out. That ball hit to left. Cabrera makes the play, 2 down. Well, Ryan Howard has answered with a solo homer. Phillies and the Mets tied up at 3.
And that's the part of the game, there are some great, all these guys have tough jobs. They do a good job 9 out of 10 times. It's just, why antagonize? I mean, guys are frustrated. You don't have to listen to it all. You don't have to wave your hand bye-bye and show your power on the field. Throw them out. If you want to throw them out, throw them out. But then all of a sudden it just becomes this, looking for things to happen. And players don't.
Well, the Cardinals have seen plenty of ejections this week. They had a game against Milwaukee the other day. There were 4 ejections. Ken Maka got thrown out for Milwaukee. Dave Duncan, the Cardinals pitching coach, got tossed. And then he and Bob Davidson kind of exchanged gestures before he left. And then Davidson, before the game was over, threw a fan out who was sitting behind the plate getting on Yadier Molina. And Davidson did that on his own. And during the game, Davidson said, I'm going to throw him out. And Molina said, what's the big deal? But he went ahead and threw him out anyway. The 1-1 with 2 out. That ball's hit well by Holiday to straightaway center and gone.
Well, that's another big 2-out run. St. Louis has struggled to score runs, but in these first 2 games, their formula has been pretty simple. Get guys on, and with 2 outs, deliver the big blow. This looks like a hanging changeup. No, it's a curveball over the middle of the plate. And Matt Halliday gets his foot down, and in a power position, hits it to the farthest part of the ballpark for a 2-run homer.
And so now it's a 3-1 St. Louis lead. The tally is up to 10 on the 2-out runs for St. Louis in the first 2 games of this series. That's 10 of their 14 runs. That was home run number 26 for Holiday. Gives him 90 runs batted in. And here's Rasmus, who hit 2 last night. Couldn't check.
The frustration is nothing that happened with the umpires had any effect on this inning. You got Pujols out. You just didn't make a good 2-strike pitch or a curveball pitch in the situation where it called for it.
Well, 1-1 from Minor. Rasmus waiting. In tight. Breaking pitch with no bite, 3-1. He was on that, as they say, and fouled it straight back. Count is full with 2 out. Two singles, 2 homers. Scored 3 times in the opener, did Rasmus. Minor struck him out, but the damage was already done. Matt Holliday goes deep. 3-1 STL.
Come on, everybody, stand.
In the bottom half of the third, where it's time for the Airtran Airways home run inning, where Karma from Austell, Georgia, will have the chance to win free airfare for 2 if the Braves hit a homer here in the third. Visit PeachtreeTV.com/contest for official rules and to enter for a chance to win. Airtran Airways, go. There's nothing stopping you. Here's Melky Cabrera. Karma from
That's
Austell.
a name that you would think.
Well, you would think if there's good karma, then maybe you've got something going here. But when I hear that name, I'm thinking Mom and Dad probably got some tie-dyed shirts in the closet. That's not a thing. Melky Cabrera with a count of 1-1. He's got 4 home runs. And this is to left for the first out of the third. You know, this is our last one on Peachtree TV for 2010.
I know.
And I'm trying to, before the night's over, get a lot of these names out here. For folks,
I
for
thought
all
you were
of our,
starting to get emotional.
No. For all of the hard-working crew. So I'm running through the camera operators. Henry Matthews, Chris Calloway, Steve Angel, Wayne Berry, Andy Ransom, Tim LaBeouf, Chris Conway, John Sherrill, Sharon Hill Wilder, Hal Kicklighter, Tim Smith, Al Eastman, Chris Cumby, Ryan Chapman, Kevin Fay, Nate Spearman, Michael Garrett, and Devin Eggleston. They've been running camera for Peachtree TV all this season long, bringing you these great shots as Mike Miner stands at the plate with a count of 0-2. Tech managers Greg Gunn, the gunner, Mike Ross, Doug Haskins. As Miner goes down swinging. The engineers, Grover Huckabee III, Phil Wynn, Jimmy Baskerville, Andy Meyer, Ed Martinez, Dan Neighbors, Greg Lamping, Terry Posner, and Dan McCabe. And I'm telling you, folks, it's a cast of thousands that it takes to put these games on. A lot of different responsibilities. We have got a wonderful Emmy Award-winning crew here, and just trying to shout everybody out before the night is over. We did a few of them last night. We'll bring you some more here as the night goes on. 2 down here in the third for Omar Infante, who grounded out to second his first time.
You know what you call that, Ernie?
Footage.
Yeah. Hey, way to go. You're catching on.
I remember that when you cranked it out in Philadelphia. And this is the third out of the third on the fly ball from Infante to left. This has been the AirTran Airways home run inning of the game. It was a quick one. Be sure to register at PeachTreeTV.com/contest for official rules and for your chance to win. Sorry, Karma.
Toyota moving forward. Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox have combined for 5,118 managerial wins. What is the record for the most wins by 2 opposing managers? Well, this ain't it.
Well, it doesn't say that.
True.
Top half of the fourth inning, Yadier Molina leads it off. Right out to center his first time. Cardinals scored in the second. Braves matched it. Cardinals scored 2 in the third. Lead it 3-1. That ball is hit foul into the left field corner.
There's workhorses on the mound. This guy is the workhorse of catchers. He catches just about every game. I think 30 straight right now. And if he's not playing or they give him a day off, he wants to play first and spells, Mr. Pujols over at first. This guy is one of the best, if not one of the best catchers in the game. And he loves what he's doing.
And he's doing that with a bothersome right knee. He's had a lot of swelling in that. La Russa's trying to rest him here and there, but nothing he can really do.
And he's only thrown out, because I say this is one of the highest percentages I've ever seen, 46.5% of would-be Steelers in his career. That's not for a single season, but in his career.
Fouled back behind the plate. And just a couple of rows deep. He is the youngest of the Molina brothers. Benji and Jose, his older brothers. He waits on a 1-2 from Mike Minor. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
How about all 3 of them getting together for Thanksgiving dinner, and they all have a World Series ring?
Yep.
Pretty impressive. Look what I got. Oh, look what I got. I got one too.
Fouled off down the right field line. It stays 2-2. We'll see his brother Benji on Sunday. You and I will be there for TBS as the Rangers play the Yankees.
I'd like to see the three of them race. Maybe not literally see them race, but to see who.
Hey, Benji hit for the cycle earlier this year with Texas. And he needed the triple to complete the cycle. And it might be on YouTube or it might be on MLB.com. If you click on the player section, he's on there. The trip from second to third. The announcers were pulling for him all the way. That was something to see.
You ever been to a tractor pull?
No, but I saw that piece of video.
I used to go to a lot of those.
You used to go to a bunch of tractor pulls?
One of our best friends had. We'd go watch him compete all the time. Now it's nowhere near. It's 20 some years ago. It's nowhere near the technology that exists today, where they could pull half the stadium down.
Jim Reynolds says that Molina did not go.
Well, he got that one right.
Yeah.
1 for 2. He'll average 9 for 10. He just got the one wrong.
And it cost Terry Pendleton the night. There is a foul tip into the mitt of Brian McCann. 1 out in the 4th.
Got any ideas on a managerial situation?
I would say Connie Mack would have to be involved in that somewhere. John McGraw would have to be involved in that somewhere.
What about Casey Stengel?
I don't think Casey's in this answer. No.
You don't?
No. Unless you've talked to Hal and now you've put one over on me.
No.
Pedro Feliz at the plate, singled his first time.
You know, we were going over some rule changes or some rule questions. Hal was questioning us on some potential situations. I came across one the other day. I was watching a baseball game way up in North Gwinnett. It was up in the boonies, basically, and it was a game where there was no fence. So the kid hit one in the gap. And he went to go get the ball.
Is this your joke of the night?
No, he went to go get the ball, and it kept rolling, and it was near a farm, and a pig ate it. So they stopped the game and trying to get a ruling, and it took about 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, and they ruled it was inside the porker. Inside the porker.
You know what? I got the joke, but in no way did it approach.
No, that's the build-up.
Hilarity of last night's
No, that's
joke.
the build-up. There's a couple coming periodically. It's the last game. And that just was an odd rule thing that the umpire, I thought he made the right call.
Yeah.
Inside the porker.
We're sorry. Ball and 2 strikes. I'm having to apologize for my partner's humor.
And there was another play later in the game, but I'm sure you don't want to hear about that.
No, I don't. It's a fly ball to center that McLeod wraps up. 2 up and 2 down in the 4th.
Well, oddly enough, it did happen. and it was.
There's no stopping you, is there?
And it was a kind of the same situation, but this time it was a rabbit. And instead of grabbing the ball to throw it home, he threw the rabbit. I think he threw it a long ways. He was safe by a hair. Plate.
My.
Had to bring you down off of last night.
Mission accomplished. Here's Carpenter. He knocked in the game's first run in the second.
Just never know whose feather you're going to tickle, Ernie.
I don't know which one. Mark Lemke just texted Smoltz and says, hey, that was funny. I don't know which one.
I'm sure the first one.
Or maybe it's the combination of the two. There's a strike. No messing around with this guy this time, huh?
No, he needs the 1, 2, 3 inning. Again, you know, Mike's going through all kinds of different emotions to deal with this game. And certainly when you sit on the bench, you go, I just wish I had that one pitch back, or I wish I would have done. And those are the kind of things that go faster. Pitch selections, you know, it's going to be a big job of Brian McCann to make sure that if there's any doubt or any unsettlement, go out to the mound. Say, this is what we want to do here. We don't want this guy to beat us. Not this particular guy at the plate, but Matt Holliday for Albert Pujols.
The 2-1 hit to right. Jason Hayward back, and that ball is gone. Chris Carpenter hit that ball 331 feet.
Well, he just flicks the bat, and this ball just carries a lot farther. You can see it was actually going the other way as Jason was going after it, trying to locate it to time his jump. But the ball actually was going back toward his left. And you just never know what's going to turn a season around for a team. But last night and tonight, 2-out lightning has really come in big for the St. Louis Cardinals, who have struggled unexplainably up until this point. And now all of a sudden, they're looking at a 4-1 lead and one of their top dogs on the mound.
Chris Carpenter hitting .098 coming into this game. Singles to left to knock in the first run, and it's a solo homer with 2 outs here in the fourth. It is 4-1 St. Louis. And that ball hit up the middle by Brendan Ryan. Seven hits for the Cardinals as we play in the top of the fourth. And here is Tyler Green, who is flied out and grounded out. Roy Halladay has knocked in a couple of runs for the Phillies in New York. They lead the Mets 6-3 in the top of the fifth. Snap throw to first is late. Reds trying to snap their 5-game losing streak, leading the Pirates in Cincinnati 3-1. A strike to Green, who bats with 2 down here in the fourth. Cardinals doing all kinds of damage with 2 out. Eleven of their 15 runs coming with 2 out. That ball popped into foul territory and not very high for Derek Lee. And that'll retire the side, but not before the Cardinals add to their lead. Chris Carpenter with a solo shot.
Tonight's Toyota trivia question. Tony La Russa and Bobby Cox have combined for 5,118 managerial wins. What is the record for the most wins by two opposing managers? I'm going to say it's over 6,000.
I had half of that. Almost 6,000. Connie Mack and Joe McCarthy. I had the Connie Mack part right. You did not have the Casey Stengel part right.
No, I didn't.
Braves trying to get things right here in the fourth. They're down 4-1. Time to get down to business. Jason Hayward leading off against Chris Carpenter, who you hope doesn't. And this has been the way he works, kind of like Wainwright. He gets that kind of a lead and is such a bulldog that it's very tough to come back against him. He's looking for his 16th win, and he's working with a 4-1 lead. Hayward fouls it off, 1-1.
I don't think this will be the case, but sometimes when you go through a season and you hit a home run as a pitcher, you're so excited you really can't pitch that next inning. And maybe that'll be the case, but he's one of those guys that's locked in. Braves are going to take it one at bat at a time, find a way, and that's not one of them right there.
That is Firewood for the first out. Checking again with Mark Fine. Mark?
Well, EJ, you guys talking about the wins for these two managers. Rick Ankiel for the Braves, of course, has played for both of these guys. I was talking to him before the game. First, I asked him about the differences. He said La Russa much more hands-on. And I said, how about the similarities? He thought for a second. He looked at me and smiled and said, they both win. And he said, but both guys really good to play for, very good to their players, guys.
Absolutely. 2,625 wins for La Russa, 2,493 for Bobby, and in a head-to-head, Cox leads at 92-66. Here's Martin Prado, who struck out his first time, and he makes Brian Snitker dance over there in the third base coach's box. Watch Jason. Yep, felt that one in the left hand.
You know, I got a unique opportunity to interview both Bobby and Chipper at the same time, and I asked him a question that's often asked to players. You know, who do you least want to face? Who do you want to face? Who's the, you know, from a manager standpoint, I asked him, does it really matter? Is there a guy you really want to manage against? And he said, oh yeah. He wouldn't give the name, of course. I mean, I knew he wouldn't, but he said it played into us really having the team knew it, the players knew it. We really wanted to beat this guy. And it helped he felt helped his team, the Braves, win a series. But I'm sure that exists. It's got to exist. Human nature says, I want to beat this guy. Even though, as a manager, your players are out there doing it, you still want to feel responsible for making the right moves.
Right. And he would never. Doesn't surprise me at all that he wouldn't reveal the name. And Bobby's not that way, but I think it's just human nature a lot of times, and it's that way with players too. You say you want to beat the best. You want to. Yeah, you want to face these guys. You want to beat the best, and you want, as a great pitcher, to face great hitters, and you love that mano-a-mano kind of thing.
And it does work the other way, meaning sometimes the guy's mannerisms get on your nerve, or you think he's a certain person, then you get to play with him, and you go, man, I totally misread that. Or, you know what, I was pretty right about that. But more times than not, you're wrong, because mannerisms, when you're in competition and you see somebody do something, you think the absolute worst about what they're trying to do. In reality, is most of those guys aren't like that.
That ball is hit right on the screws by Prado. It's going to roll to the wall. Martin motors around second, and he'll stay right there. Well, there's a start in the fourth.
I'll tell you one thing, the Cardinals, having spent some time over there as we watch this replay, a cutter that doesn't quite cut like he wants to over the middle of the plate. Martin stays down through it and finds the gap. But the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be fundamentally strong. They work on plays all the time. You watch the center fielder get to it quick, unleash it to the cutoff guy perfectly, preventing the guy to get to third with less than 2 outs.
So here's Brian McCann. He's 0 for 1 with a fly out to right.
Brian's going to get a hit right here. Just popped up.
He's 0 for his last 16.
He's going to get a hit. I feel it. Molina with a good stop. I mean, the only way he doesn't get a hit is Chris can feel it too, and he walks it.
You talk about the best facing the best. Against the top 10 winningest pitchers in the National League, Brian McCann is hitting .400. And Carpenter's in that group with 15 wins. So is his teammate Adam Wainwright, who has 18, tied with Ubaldo Jimenez for the lead in the National. The 1-0. That ball is rifled into right. You are right, Smoltzy. Here comes Prado toward the plate. And the Braves have cut the lead to 4-2. You're scary.
Well, I'm sorry, but
you're scary.
You look right here. Even though he's 0 for 16, he gets a pitch right where he wants it down. Beautiful stroke from Brian McCann, and this is part of the one plate appearance at a time. Typically aren't going to get 5 runs, although last year the Braves put a big inning against Carpenter over there, 6 or 7 runs in that inning. You got to nip and tuck and keep it close.
Here's Derek Lee, who's had success in his career against Carpenter. Came in hitting .309 with 2 home runs against him. Time to take a look at the SunThrust Solid Performance, brought to you by SunThrust. Live solid, bank solid. 25 home runs against the Cardinals. Third on that list is the guy at the plate. And he takes a strike, 1-1.
Talked about the home run that Carpenter gave up, 19 of them, but only 14 were solo. 14 were solo, so that's good damage control.
Lee represents the tying run at the plate in a 4-2 game. We're in the bottom half of the 4th. Derek with 67 runs batted in. And see Chris Carpenter with a good sweat working, and he's working on the rosin bag on the back of the mound. The 1-2. Takes low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One of those 2 career home runs came on August 14th by Lee off Carpenter. Derek hitting his first in the Atlanta uniform 24 hours ago. He waits on a 2-2. And that is tailor-made. 4-6-3. But the Braves do get on the board again. The McCann RBI single. It's 4-2 as we head to the 5th.
Ranked #1 in customer satisfaction nationwide for 6 straight years. Experience all the comfort and amenities you expect at an unexpectedly low price. Jamieson Inn's Live Large, Pay Less.
We welcome you back. Hey, our stage manager tonight is the lovely and talented Valerie Burrell. Others who have filled that post this season on Peachtree: Karen Blackman, Ashley Diamond, Scotty Dyer's been up here, William Alfaro, and the guys in the tape room: Howard Feinberg, Tony Tam, Dave Winston, Bill Word, Ashley McClure, Mike Pelkey, Lisa Lutomsky, Leslie McDaniel, Jeff White, Mike Winslow, and Andy Seigel. Actually, Andrew Siegel, but the guys on the crew dared me to say it.
And you did.
2 balls and no strikes to John Jay as he leads off the Cardinal 5th. It's a 4-2 game. 2 balls and a strike. 1-2-3 inning here, Mike Minor. Braves have cut that lead in half. It's 4-2. Jay struck out, singled and scored in the 3rd. Peter Moylan loosening in the Atlanta bullpen. Here comes the 2-2 to Jay.
Well, this is the point in the game where you realize this is your 9th inning. Chances are it's his last inning. He's coming up 4th next at bat. These games, the starters all have less opportunities to be successful. And what I mean by that, with the expanded rosters, they're going to have less room for error.
That's into center. Nate McLouth makes the play, 1 down.
And see, what happens is, if you end up pitching tighter, your game's even shorter. And because every game means so much, and because you have the luxury of mixing and matching with so many different options, he knows right here, let me get through this inning, give my team a chance, keep it at 4-2, and see what happens.
He's working in the 5th. Pitched 4 in his last start Sunday at Florida. Gave up 9 hits and 6 earned runs. Not involved in the decision. He faces Pujols for the 3rd time in his career. He's got him on a couple of flyouts. Minor was born on the day after Christmas, which is a popular birth date for the Braves. Omar Infante born on that day, and J.C. Boscan, who's still waiting to make his big league debut after his call up from Gwinnett. Ball and 2 strikes to Pujols.
Cardinals have pounded out already 17 hits in 8 innings versus the Atlanta Braves starters, and starters just don't give up that many hits this year as a group. And not a formula for success going against Wainwright and Carpenter.
And they've given up 6 home runs as Braves pitching in these 2 games. They came in having allowed the fewest home runs in the major leagues. Now up to 108. Nowhere near Arizona with their 181 as Pujols goes down swinging. 2 down.
So if you had to cast your vote right now, we saw Adam, we're seeing Chris, you know of Putty, Jimenez, and the guy who's going for the Phillies, Halladay. Who would be your Cy Young if the season ended today?
That's very tough, because sometimes you look. Jimenez had such a great start, and he's got the 18 wins. I was really leaning Huddy's way. He lost his last couple. And Wainwright went through a a spell there where he lost 4 in a row. So I'm trying to straddle the fence as well as I can. But I would think Tim Hudson's credentials are as good as anybody's.
They are. But if the season ends today, it's probably going to go to Halladay, as you know, perfect game is part of the resume. And I agree with you. I mean, Tim still has, every pitcher obviously still has 3 or 4 starts to make their claim, but it's one of the most closest groupings. Usually it comes down to 2 guys. You got 4 or 5 guys that are making a strong case.
Yeah.
2 teammates, again, going at it.
Halladay with his complete games and just his dominance, I think he's probably right there too. 0-2 as Halladay fouls it over the Braves dugout.
Well, he's also got a microscopic ERA in Citizen Ballpark, which is like Coors Field of the East. And, you know, with Jimenez doing what he's done, it's a half a run. You take a half a run off of his ERA because he has to pitch in Colorado so many games. So anything under 3 in Colorado is an incredible year. And certainly he could finish off the Cy Young campaign.
Couldn't get Halladay to chase the 0-2. A ball and 2 strikes.
My argument, though, there's got to be a traditional formula that the writers could start using to have a basis for really coming up for that. I mean, there's like 20 categories. Pick 10 categories that they deem to be the most important in pitching categories and rank them. And I've always said the lowest number in those categories, I wonder how that would shake out. Because a lot of guys, as we saw last year, didn't probably see, you know, Lynch come pitch.
Yeah.
And went off of statistical categories. And, of course, Adam Wainwright and Carpenter ruining a lot of their own votes together.
He didn't get all of that. And there is your shutdown inning. 1-2-3 for Mike Minor. We are in the middle of the 5th. Braves need this one. Goes without saying. Tonight's leaderboard brought to you by the Sunshine House, a tradition of excellence in early education. Chris Carpenter with a winning percentage of .741. It's quite a top 5 right there, and Wainwright at .653. Back to the Cy Young in the National League, and I think the point you make on Halladay pitching in that ballpark too, and the low ERA, you know, it's what, 2.3 or so. He's got 8 complete games. Just a dominant pitcher. I think if you went around the National League and said, okay, there's one game to play right now, these hitters, who do you not want to face? I'd be surprised if he didn't top the list.
He's up there. Do you think somebody can win the Triple Crown and not win the MVP this year in the National League?
No, if you win the Triple Crown. Although,
interestingly,
if Albert Pujols wins the Triple Crown, is he the MVP or is Joey Votto the MVP?
Well, look at this pitch right here again, up in the zone. Beautiful job by Nate McLouth.
He leads off here in the 5th.
Well, in 1947, Ernie.
Yes.
Ted Williams won the Triple Crown and did not win the MVP.
Wow. Who did?
Jolton Joe.
Okay.
The hitting streak won over
the Triple Crown.
The hitting streak did not win over. Somebody in my ear had that wrong.
Nate hit that ball well, but right at Colby Rasmus for the first out.
Hal, you ever thought about taking on the Schwab? Beat the Schwab?
There's Alex Gonzalez. Flied out to right his first time. It's fun that we have a season in which you are talking about the Triple Crown possibility this late in the year. And you talked about it in the American League possibly with Josh Hamilton. Miguel Cabrera having a big year, and in the National with Pujols and Votto.
And Omar Infante can spoil it all. I mean, he literally can win the batting title at the rate he's at. He stays healthy, and it really might be tough to catch. Coming in the game, 341, 0 for 2, probably down to 339-ish.
You got to put Carlos Gonzalez, the little pony out there in Colorado, in that discussion too. Omar thought he got a piece of that ball. Or rather, Alex Gonzalez did, and that's 2 down.
Well, again, what works for Jimenez pitching in Colorado will work against Carlos Gonzalez as he plays in Colorado, because those numbers, he has a very big disparity between this home success and road success. So that will work against him if he's going to get any of those votes.
Here's Melky Cabrera with 2 down in the 5th. Line out to left his first time. And he taps to second. Tyler Green throws him out. Easy inning for Carpenter. We are through 5. Still the Cardinals by 2.
Criminals talk.
The closing Premieres September 19th on Peachtree TV.
We move to the top half of the 6th. Friday night in Atlanta. In a 4-game set between the Braves and the Cardinals. Cardinals won it going away last night 11-4. They lead tonight 4-2. And here's Colby Rasmus.
Well, because of the 1-2-3 inning last inning, Minor gets to go back out there and put another 0 on the board and feel good about finishing strong.
Fouled off. No play.
Here's the downside, Ernie, about pitching in games like this. It's hard to find positive things if your team doesn't win, because you feel like you want to be out there and have your team win and be responsible for them either going 2 games up or tying for the division, because you're in that quandary right now of 1 game back and 1 game up. And veteran has to make sure that when he comes out of this game, you find a way to tell him, here's what you did well, here's what you learned from, because those mental notes are going to be huge for the following starts. You can't bring that baggage. Man, I can't tell you how much baggage I brought when I was young from start to start and carried over effect. Well, he's got to have to find a way that if he gets through this game, continue to build on what really, as we talked in the open, every start will be the biggest start he has.
In this one, he has not walked a batter, has struck out 4, has allowed 7 hits, and 2 of those left the yard. Holiday with a 2-run shot, and Chris Carpenter with just his 2nd home run of his career, just over the wall and right. Rasmus is 0 for 2 as he leads off the 6th. And there is a walk to the leadoff hitter.
Bobby's trying to figure out, as I am here in the booth, where was this? What's wrong with that?
Was it up? I guess. So the 22-year-old left-hander works into the 6th, walks the leadoff hitter, and this call to the bullpen is brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. Minor gives way to Moylan. We'll be back.
This Saturday, September 11th, Peachtree TV plays host to the Florida Gators as they take on Skip Holtz and the South Florida Bulls. And you know what? There's no better place to watch SEC action than right here on Peachtree TV. So make sure you come and join us Saturday at noon.
The only walk that Mike Minor allowed tonight came here to lead off the 6th. Braves trail 4-2. And Peter Moylan is on in relief.
Well, Peter's job is obviously to get a ground ball. If you get a ground ball out of Mr. Molina, it's usually a double play, and Peter has gotten 12 of them in 54 and a third inning so far. The man from down under.
With his 72nd appearance. He's top 5 in the National League. Molina's 0 for 2. Fly it out, struck out. Rasmus leads from first. He was late. And that ball, well, I've seen a few just rocketed into the stands tonight. Molina waiting on an 0-1. And he throws over. Does Moylan to check Rasmus. And he's ahead 0-2. Cardinals got 1 in the second, 2 in the third on the 2-run homer by Holiday, 1 in the fourth on the solo homer by Chris Carpenter. They lead it 4-2. Runner at first, nobody out here in the sixth. And the 0-2 on the way, fouled off again. The team the Cardinals are chasing in the Central, Cincinnati Reds leading the Pirates 3-1. They're in the top half of the seventh. They are 5 games behind the Reds, who have lost 5 in a row. Pitch out. Rasmus isn't going anywhere. And the team the Braves are chasing, the Phillies, leading the Mets 6-3. They're now in the top of the seventh in New York.
Well, at this point, I mean, everyone always keeps an eye on the scoreboard, but at this point in the season, with the way the Braves have run into a little bit of trouble, you got to try to find a way to right the ship. Not rely on any help. If it comes, it comes, but not rely on it.
There goes Rasmus. And he is out. Bill Welke says Gonzalez got the tag on Colby's back for the first out.
Well, this is just a great play. Quick delivery by Peter and a great release by Big Mac. And a big out.
So the base is clear with 1 out. And he just reached out and poked that down the first base line. Molina playing on a really sore right knee, settles for a single with 1 out.
Not much you can do about this. A great pitch, and all he did was absolutely do what you just said, Ernie. Might not have happened if the runner was still at first because you got holding the bag, but you trade the out for potential of something big happening.
Well, here's Feliz. 1 out of 2 with a single and a fly out. Molina has a very short lead at first, but doing a lot of dancing about 2 feet off the bag.
Molina's one of those guys that will end up with 10, 12 stolen bases on a year just because he picks his spots where people just don't pay attention to him. He always used to give Pujols a little bit of that he had more stolen bases than Albert.
Moreland made Feliz look bad.
It's a real good slider right here.
So 2 down. And here's Carpenter. Everybody back up. Guy came in hitting .098. He's 2 out of 2.
Well, he had only had 2 RBIs in his first 61 at bats tonight. He equaled that in 1 game.
A single in the second, solo homer in the fourth. This is the ball he hit off Mike Minor, which surprised everybody. His second career home run. He's behind 0-2.
Well, like I said in the beginning, it's not pretty. A little emergency hack here or there. He just really takes pride in trying to do whatever it takes to help him and his team win a game. And tonight, you could say it's the difference. His 2 RBIs is the lead.
Well, they finally got him. We're in the middle of the 6th. It's a 4-2 St. Louis lead. Happy birthday. Fox has the game tomorrow afternoon. ESPN has the Sunday night game, and then Sports South Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday against the Nationals. And you won't see the Peachtree TV logo on those schedules anymore. This is our finale. And one more bunch of shout outs to give you tonight as we move on. And Brooks Conrad has a bat. He will pinch hit here in the 6th. Brooks takes 1-0. He's had a flair for the dramatic, as you know. And the Braves could use some of that tonight. Grounded through the right side, and there's a leadoff single in the 6th. So there's a little spark here in the 6th inning.
Picks on a fastball and finds the hole. Even Albert, who plays far off the bag, can cover a lot of ground, can't get to that.
Well, here's Omar Infante, who's 0 for 2. And 5 out of 12 in his last 3 games. Has grounded out and flied out tonight. Yadier Molina will have a word with Chris Carpenter. Our video guys, Victor Wilder and Steve Dressman. Thanks, guys. Technical directors, Brian Smythe, John Sinyard, and John Tackett. The guys at the audio controls, Jim Budka and Greg Briggs, David Poole, Sam Napper, and James Grasso. Many thanks to the great crew here. Peachtree TV. Infante waits, tries to bunt, and it's 0-1. And Smoltzy, this last group are the guys who drive the rigs and the mobile units. Mike McGee and Daniel Palmer, Walter Schwartz, Alan Milhouse, Kenneth Jones, and Perry Bice.
Can I just say those are fascinating vehicles? Totally intrigued with how they're built,
how they operate, and how they get a TV picture into your house.
Sides come out, they expand.
All right, a ball and a strike. Infante batting with Brooks Conrad with the lead at first after a leadoff pinch hit single here in the bottom of the 6th. To third and foul.
A lot of that truck is probably what? 50 different connections, if not more, probably 100. You see the big deal about pulling one of those out one day saying, hey, what does this do?
I believe that's happened before.
Well, the technology is, I don't know how it can get better, but I'm sure someday we'll find a way. It's pretty darn good right now.
Our crew does a great job. Great tight shot of Chris Carpenter. The intensity as he pitches here in the 6th. Slow roller up toward third. And he beat it out. A hustling infield single for Omar Infante has him at first and second.
I tell you, he has under the radar speed. People don't realize he can get down the line. Tie goes to the runner. That's what it looked like it was. Big moment for Jason Hayward as he has got to find a way maybe to get some of that gap action. See the 2 runners run, possibly tie up the game. Big moment here for the Braves. Bottom 6th.
They're at first and second, and now they're going to throw behind. Ooh, Brooksy just did get back in there.
That's a tough play for a guy on second. You know, he's anticipating the bunt, and as he pulls it back, close play.
May have gotten him. Braves may have gotten a break there as Hayward squared to bunt. Look at that. Seen Jason out here before BP working on his bunting. He squared and took a strike, and they darn near threw behind Brooks Conrad. Now it's 0-2.
You know, that's the problem. If you're going to do that on your own, I don't think Bobby's going to be in favor of putting yourself in a hole if you were never planning on doing it. He wants the big fella up there driving the ball, and now he's put himself in an 0-2 defensive hole. The account that Carpenter wants to induce a possible double play or strikeout.
They lead from first and second. Ground ball through the right side, base hit. Conrad's around third. He's going to score. And they're at the corners.
Well, like I said, he's got him right where he wants him, Ernie. 0-2, he's got him. Great base running right there to take advantage of the right fielder kind of sitting back on this ball. Hard hit ball, takes the curveball, pulls it in between the hole. And I'm not so sure he knew exactly the right fielder where to go with this. Last minute he went to third and trying to go to third, cut it off at second base. Scratch and crawl and work your way back into this game. You never know what's going to happen.
Back-to-back-to-back hits for the Braves here in the sixth. It's 4-3. The tying run 90 feet away from Martin Prado. He's shortened as if to bunt. And it's Infante going back on his stomach to third.
The scenario here, let's say this is in the playoffs. It's in the bottom of the sixth. Martin Prado must put the ball in play, even if he hits into a double play. You've got to tie the game up first. You'd like for this to be a big inning, but his job is to make contact anywhere but the third baseman.
There's a liner to left. This game is tied. Hayward coming to third. He'll be held up there. That's a double for Martin Prado.
Can't say enough of the job that this kid is doing. He's playing with a bad pinky. You could tell early on it was bothering him when he swings and misses, but doesn't bother him when he makes contact. A high pitch that he pulls over the third baseman's head, and the Braves really have action now with Brian McCann at the plate. Don't know if they're going to pitch to him here, but a tie game. Minor's off the hook. Minor might be the new Medlin. Every time he pitches, the Braves win, hopefully, or more than likely.
The Braves had 3 hits through 5 innings off Chris Carpenter. They have 4 straight here in the sixth. And here comes Cardinals pitching coach Dave Duncan. That got them going here on a Friday night at Turner Field. They're in full throat. Got the chop going, and the game is tied.
Mitchell Boggs is up, the hard-throwing right-hander. Braves have found a way to get to Chris Carpenter. Not many teams have had success against him, and the Braves have had their share of it.
So they're at second and third for Brian McCann with nobody out. Ground ball, fly ball, gives the Braves the lead. Who did he have a cut?
Same thing here. Brian McCann's up. He took his healthy cut to try and drive the ball there. If the count works against him, he's got to find a way to pull the ball to the right side of the infield, get the Braves ahead, and get a runner on third with less than 2 outs. That's his job. If he gets a hit, it's a bonus.
The 0-1. Missed the corner. Ball and a strike. Hayward at third. Prado at second. Martin's got 2 doubles. His 55th multi-hit game, which leads the National League, and he's up to 170 hits. 3 behind Carlos Gonzalez for the lead in the NL. 2 balls and a strike.
And this is where Mac's got to be disciplined, because he knows a veteran pitcher is going to try to attack him away. He gave him something early, down and in, but it's harder to pull a pitch that's away. And he really doesn't care if he walks him here, because the bases are loaded and it sets up a force at every base.
That ball is driven to right. Did he get enough? Off the wall. The Braves have the lead, and here comes Martin Prado. He'll score. McCann's at third. It's 6-4.
Well, he got a pitch to drive and pull at the same time, so this is all bonuses. The ball goes to the wall and it gets in that corner. He should have caught the ball. I'm sure it'll be ruled a triple. Brian doesn't get many of them. Well, I was wrong. They're going to give him a sac fly, RBI, and E9. And the Braves have done a little bit of what St. Louis has done to the Braves and come up with a big inning.
Here's Derek Lee. They bring the infield in. The Braves have scored 4 times here in the 6th. Lee takes 1-1. Derek is 0 for 2.
Carpenter coming into this game 98-6. 98-6 when given a 3-run lead.
Hit hard into left field. McCann can trot home. And it's 7-4.
You don't think this game is played with emotion and adrenaline and to just how things can go in a heartbeat. This is what makes baseball so great. Everybody, all of a sudden, everybody had a switch turned on. Everyone's getting a hit. They're all picking on different pitches. And it's just kind of unraveled for St. Louis, and that's going to be the end of Carpenter's night. Man, I'm glad you don't have to figure this game out for a living. Although I'm pretty hot when I do.
If you must say so yourself. 6 have come to the plate. 5 have scored with nobody out. This call to the bullpen brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. On sale now. Get your 2010 Atlanta Braves Division Series tickets today by visiting Braves.com/postseason or by calling 1-800-745-3000 or at your local Ticketmaster outlet or at the Turner Field ticket windows or call John and see if he's got any. Secure your seats today. Boy, the mood has lightened considerably here at Turner Field here in the 6th. Braves were down 4-2 when the inning started against Chris Carpenter. And he has not retired a batter in the 6th. And Tony La Russa's gone to the pen for Mitchell Boggs.
Well, Mitchell Boggs, local guy here, pitched at UGA, Bulldog. Throws the ball awfully hard. Can be a little bit wild. Has a good slider. Can rush it up there. And his job now is obviously try to quiet down the Atlanta Braves, who have erupted and could cause problems on my scorecard if they keep batting in this inning.
Here's Nate McLeod, who hit his 4th home run, a solo shot in the 2nd. Light out to center in the 5th. Derek Lee leads from first. Nobody out.
Wonder how our partner Joe Simpson's doing. You know he pulled a muscle?
I was not aware.
Yeah, he was laughing so hard at what happened to me in Boston. His side has been bothering him. Keeps watching that over and over again.
Goes for a lot of us. The 1-1. Nate shortened up on the bat and took a ball 2-1.
Still not as funny as his other injury when he was racing his son on the beach. You know that story?
Yeah, I heard about
One
that.
hamstring right after the other. Pow, first one. A few more steps.
I don't laugh about hamstring pulls anymore.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. You have to be...
I could have owned your house after that happened. Here comes the 2-1 will not be made as he throws back to first. That's a story for another...
Well, it's actually for right now. What people
day.
don't understand is, you're a great athlete, good pair of hands, flag football game at our house. The first down and out, I'm going to throw it to you in the end zone. I'm looking for a sniper in the tree because I think you've been shot. And you went down.
Nate lays down the bunt. That's a good one. And the bad throw, but Pujols dug it out.
What a good play right there by Albert. Not expecting a pitcher to short hop you from about 5 feet. Great executed bunt. That's the way you do it. Every guy should be able to do that just like that. A major league player should be able to bunt it. Whoa!
My.
Next time we might have to underhand it.
He's not the first to do that. He's latest in a long line of pitchers who sometimes have trouble getting the ball over there to first. Alex Gonzalez, a grounder right under the glove of Feliz at third. They're at the corners.
And here, ball's got to probably stay down. He anticipates it coming up. Just didn't get his glove on it. And we ruled that one a base hit, which is a gift. Awfully nice.
First and third with one out. Here's Melky. The Braves have batted around here in the sixth. They're not done yet. Lee at third. Gonzalez at first. Boggs with a bluff. That'll be out of play down the left side. Cabrera looking for his first hit of the night. He's behind 0-2. Six hits in the inning for the Braves. They've scored 5 times.
Great pitch and good discipline right there from Melky, not swinging at a tough slider down and in. Those are the kind of pitches you got to make in this situation and hope that the hitter's aggressiveness, you end up winning out. Again, he lays off another great pitch.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Brooks Conrad, who started this whole thing with a pinch hit single, is on deck. The count is full.
And he would not be credited with 2 pinch hit appearances in the same inning, for those at home that were wondering.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. That ball's hit to center. Rasmus drifts back, makes the catch. Lee tags at third, and there's another Atlanta run. It's 8-4.
That's a good job of hitting. 0-2 count. He worked it to a full count. Just got enough of it. Hobie's got a pretty good arm, but he was too deep to be able to throw anybody out at home. And now Mr. Excitement's up for the second time here in the 6th inning. I would have loved to play with this guy. Everybody talks about what he does and how he does it. First class. And what a year he's having.
We all know about the 2 pinch hit grand slams, which has never been done by a rookie. But Brooksy did it this year. Remember, he laid down a squeeze bunt in Minnesota. He got this rally started. Invaluable off that Atlanta bench. Molina didn't know exactly where it was, and now he locates it. Ball and a strike. One and two. Gonzalez at first. Conrad at the plate. In what has been a 6-run sixth for the Braves. Boy, did they need that.
He didn't need that.
Nobody ever needs that.
It's a pitch where you foul it off your knee. Almost impossible, but he just did it. There is not anything good that could go with fouling it off your knee. You just hope that kneecap doesn't swell up on him.
Brooks back in there, waiting on a 1-2 from Mitchell Boggs. That ball is torched, but foul on the right side.
A lot of good things happening tonight, especially now. 6 runs. Braves got a lead. Tigers are up 27-0, Ernie, and they have not been scored on this year yet.
You might want to clarify the Tigers.
Oh, yeah, the Kingsridge Tigers.
There you go.
Kingsridge.
It is a high school football Friday night.
But a great crowd here for the Braves as they've erupted in the 6th. Been a little bit quiet.
No, a really good crowd on a perfect night. Three balls and 2 strikes. The message board says make some noise, and it's easy to do that when you got a crowd like this. Watching pennant race baseball.
I hope there's a few more of these type crowds down the stretch. You don't know what it means to a player when they come to the ballpark wanting to win, wanting to make your crowd happy, your fans happy, and that extra adrenaline that they provide is huge.
Lifted into center field. Rasmus makes the play, and that'll do it for the Braves in the 6th. But the bats woke up big time. 6 runs in the inning. It's 8-4 Atlanta.
the world of Coca-Cola. Where else could you hug a 7-foot-tall polar bear? Take home a free 8-ounce glass bottle of Coke. Experience a thrilling 4D theater and taste beverages from around the world. Visit the world of Coca-Cola today.
We move to the top half of the 7th. That's a different looking scoreboard, isn't it, folks? 8-4, the Braves with the lead. And Peter Moylan's saying, I'll take an inning's work there in relief and pick up a win if the rest of the pen can hold him. Johnny Vetters is on here in the 7th.
Well, as they say, and as Bobby will manage, this is the only game that matters, and he will play this like it's the 7th game of the World Series and let tomorrow take care of itself from a relieving core. If Johnny has to go 2, he goes 2. If not, everybody has to contribute to shut this game down in 3 innings. Still a lot of work to be done.
The number 9 hitter in the St. Louis order, Brendan Ryan, who leads it off. Tony La Russa again batting the pitcher 8th tonight. And Chris Carpenter had himself a good night at the plate. That ball is slapped into center field. Leadoff single for Ryan, who's 2 out of 3. Carpenter knocked in 2 runs tonight, a single and a solo homer. But he couldn't hold that 4-2 lead in the 6th. Braves knocked him around and chased him. So here's Tyler Green, who's 0 for 3.
Just on the Cardinals team, I'm sure they're going through a slew of tickets with all the connections to Georgia.
No kidding.
Between Tyler Green, Adam Wainwright, Mitchell Boggs, and
Colby Rasmus. That was just your 95 cheese on that first one to Green. Ryan with a lead at first, nobody out. And Green waits on a 1-1 to third, off the glove, and Martin has no play.
Well, that was a tougher play. I mean, from a guy who's moved over there to try and play this position. Chipper's made these plays all the time, but he's over there, knows these hops, and it's a little bit different. You look at here trying to get an in-between hop, and it just didn't come up with it cleanly. That might be a product of trying to turn a double play quicker than just getting the one out. So the Braves in a little bit of an issue here now. They got to find a way.
Randy Wynn is going to pinch hit for John Jay. But the Braves, that is their first error of the night. It gives them 108 on the year. When the night began, they were 1 behind both the Nats and the Marlins with 108. The Cubs had made 115. Only 7 teams at baseball had made over 100 errors, and the Braves were the only contender in that group. It's teams like the Indians, the Royals, the Pirates, the Cubs, the Nats. Florida, a game over 500. The Win takes 1-0. He started in right field last night in the opener of this series. Had a sacrifice fly, doubled and scored a run. And he hits this ball down the line and left and foul. $40,656. Your Friday night crowd here at Turner Field. And just get comfortable at home, folks. This game ain't over yet. Braves are up 8-4, but the Cardinals have 2 on and nobody out.
In a game that's not over in Cincinnati, Pittsburgh just tied it up in the 9th. So the Redbirds, if they got somebody watching in the dugout, they're pretty excited.
Martin made a great play right there. Moments after the error, he bare hands and throws him out.
That is a great play after 2 consecutive tough. That would have been 2 in a row that would have been tough for him to handle. He comes in, he bare hands this. He knows that Randy Wynn can fly. Great job.
So 1 down. Runners are at 2nd and 3rd, and Albert Pujols at the plate. With Matt Holliday on deck. No balls and 1 strike. Pujols has been intentionally walked 35 times, including once last night.
It's part of the reason why they felt like they had to go get somebody last year, and they got Matt Holliday to put behind him because he was going to get walked more than Barry Bonds ever thought about getting walked at the rate he was going. But now he's got some protection behind him to at least limit the amount of times that happens.
That ball gets away. And it's 8-5. Wild pitch.
He just tried to overthrow this sinker, and it hits the dirt, and Brian did not shift over. It's a tough play to make as a catcher when a guy throws 95 miles an hour. The plays you got to try to find a way to not let it get back to the backstop.
Green leads from 3rd. Pujols takes. 2 balls and a strike. Who's gripping the armrest at home? Great pitch, 2-2.
This is a great slider. Looks like a fastball. Remember, you've got to be able to pitch off the height of your fastball. And because he's keeping the ball down, that pitch will have significant success against a hitter. If he's all over the place, that pitch won't do a whole lot. But the hitter's recognizing the last pitch that he sees. And, of course, he throws that so hard, the spin just doesn't allow the hitter to pick up that it's a slider.
2-2. In the dirt. We've seen that movie before this inning.
Well, the ability to repeat a nasty one sometimes from a young pitcher, he'll try a little too hard to get it back in that same area. It's just got to come naturally. And that's with time. It'll be more of a pitch that he knows he can go to anytime he wants to.
3 balls and 2 strikes. To the National League leader in home runs. Here it comes. Just did get a piece of it. And a piece of McCann, too. The strain showing on the faces. 20 games to go after this one.
When you start doing the math, we need to go 15-5. We need to go 13-7.
Now, if we play 500 ball, they have to do this. That whole
gets a little easier at 20 games than it does at 40.
He missed inside, and they're at 1st and 3rd.
I'd like to see that replay. Fastball. Yeah, maybe.
right, 1st and 3rd now for Matt Holliday.
Johnny Venters, number 4 hitters, hitting 086 and no RBIs. Pretty darn impressive. Holliday somehow coax a double play, Ernie. Somehow.
Holliday is homered tonight, giving him 26 on the year and 90 runs batted in. In the top 10 in hitting at a shade over 300. And he bats in a big spot here. 8-5. Runners at 1st and 3rd. Boy, McCann has been tested in this inning.
This would be a good spot. I don't know if he's going to do it, but if he throws another one of those like that, you got to go out and talk to him and get him to stay back and not try to be too perfect and throw too hard. The amped up situation is creating him to really, these are stress pitches, and you want to make great pitches.
The 1-1 on the ground into left field, and it's a 2-run game.
This is just the product, Ernie, of some really good hitters. I mean, they stay in there, they don't give up, and they find a way to grind and get some hits.
Let us check in as Roger McDowell talks to Johnny Venters with Mark Fine.
Well, EJ, Smoltzy there was talking about how tough it's been to figure out teams this season, and this Cardinals club really the personification of that. The 12 games prior to this series, they failed to get double-digit hits. Now back-to-back games with double-digit hits. 8 of the previous 10, also 2 runs or less. They lost 7 of those games. Now they've got 6 runs tonight after what they did last night to the Braves, guys.
And in this one, they had a 4-2 lead, and the Braves erupted for 6 in the 6th. And they have bounced right back to score twice and threaten for more. Only 1 out for Colby Rasmus. Rasmus has walked, lied out, and struck out. He was the last hitter Minor faced, drawing a walk in the 6th inning. And he was caught stealing. Pujols with a lead at second, Holliday at first. Rasmus in an 0-2 hole. Cardinals have scored twice in this inning. The help of a wild pitch, an E5, couple of hits. And you see the impressive numbers in this situation with Venters, and he gets Rasmus swinging. Second time he's struck out tonight, 2 down.
Well, lefty on lefty, this slider is absolutely, you look at the first one, and now he's going to bite off a little bit more from that one because he's got the hitter in an aggressive count, and it's just unhittable in these positions. He's got to find a way to do that as well to the right-hander. It's a different view. You feel more comfortable against the left on left when you're a left-hander, but his fastball has been a key, and when he misses down and away and rushes it, it brings the right-handed hitter back into play to square him up a little bit more.
Here's Molina with 2 down.
If Johnny Venters is going to have problems, it's because he runs away from his pitches. And what I mean by that is he's throwing it and falling away to third base. He's got such tilt on his sinker that he's got to find a way to stay quieter towards home plate. Doesn't need to be as violent and create as much to have the effectiveness of that pitch.
He missed outside, 2-0. "24 pitches in the inning for Venners, the third Atlanta pitcher. The runners lead from first and second. A tapper over the mound. Prado cuts it off and throws him out. But the Cardinals cut into that lead. Whew, it's time to stretch. Braves lead, but they need more. It's 8-6. Cardinals really battled them in the top half of the seventh. Randy Wynn remains in the game in right field. And the third St. Louis pitcher is Kyle McClellan. He's going to face the top of the Atlanta order.
Kyle put some big games for the Cardinals last year down the stretch. He filled in for Franklin every once in a while. He's very valuable. He's got a good overhand curveball. Good assortment of pitches.
Down even to Infante, 1-1. Martin laid down an infield single in that sixth run, Atlanta sixth. Came around to score. Here comes the 1-2 toward third. Feliz throws him out. When they score 5 or more, they have not lost at home. And not bad overall, 50-4. Here's Jason. He's 1 out of 3. Braves had 4 straight hits in the sixth to get things started. Hayward had one of those, knocked in a run. Now has 67 on the year. And among National League rookies, That is number 2. Gabby Sanchez has 76. Here comes the 2-1. Back to the screen. 3 balls and a strike.
Jason has come up big when they've needed him the most. He's really getting hot and out of the 2-hole, providing a lot of RBI opportunities.
And he draws a 1-out walk here in the 7th. His on-base percentage will jump again tonight. He leads all rookies at .393, and that mark is good enough for number 5 in the National League. Martin Prado's got a couple of doubles, has scored twice. And that double in the 6th, you could just see it in his face. How it fired him up, fired this team up, fired this crowd up. As the Braves battled back from a 4-2 deficit to take an 8-4 lead. It's now 8-6, bottom 7. Hayward with the lead at first. McClellan, one of that growing legion of pitchers in the major leagues who have had Tommy John surgery and successfully returned. I'm sitting with a guy here in the booth who did the same thing. And I talked to Chris Medlin today, who's in the early stages of that rehab process where he's got the right arm stabilized. He got that big apparatus on there, and he was really talking about something that I talked to Kerry Wood about before the Yankee game the other day. He said, just you have to do these mundane things, the little finger touching exercises and that kind of thing, John. There are a lot of little steps that go into this rehab process, correct?
Yeah, you sure appreciate the finer movements that you took for granted when you were delivering the baseball at greater velocities and stresses. And you really got to play a game with yourself, because there's going to be a lot of different times you don't feel like doing all those ridiculous things, but you learn a lot about yourself when you get through the moments of when it just isn't fun, and it's not at times worth the pain. But boy, oh boy, it has its reaps its benefits if you can get back to the level you were.
That ball is hit right on the screws to center. Rasmus made the play. 2 down. And you know, here's the thing too, I think, and it comes and goes with different injuries. Once upon a time, if somebody blew out, say, an ACL, and there were very few players that you could look at who had successful careers after that. When it happened, you were, oh no, this is, my career will never be the same, I'll never recover from it. Same way with Tommy John. Now you look at that, and you can look at all these success stories. You can say, okay, this guy did it, this guy did it, so did he, so did he, so did John Smoltz, so did Tim Hudson. And I think that's part of the thing, that the impetus that says, okay, I'll do whatever I have to do to get back.
Yeah, I can't think of another surgery or another procedure that has saved someone's career more than this. And certainly the technology's gotten great on ACLs and all the different things that you have to do. But from a standpoint of it used to be the death of the pitcher, they found a way that to fix it.
A little dribbler by McCann ends the 7th. 2 miles to go in this one, and the Braves leading by 2.
provides North Georgia with reliable customer care, including pest and termite inspections and customized treatment. Visit callactivetoday.com.
Tomorrow at noon, catch all the hard-hitting SEC football action as the Florida Gators take on the South Florida Bulls, live in HD on Peachtree TV. Now the fourth Atlanta pitcher to enter tonight's game is Takashi Saito. Minor started, Moylan followed, then Johnny Venters had kind of a rough seventh, allowed 2 runs, and now Takashi has the ball with a 2-run lead.
Schumacher.
That would be Skip Schumacher, pinch hitting to lead off the 8th. He hit a long ball last night. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it off.
The formula, as we look at a no-doubter here, the formula for Mr. Saito has been 2+ days of rest. He's got a 1 ERA. 1 day, 3.65. No days of rest, 5.91. So in this case, you like your chances when my man, his last game is September 5th. Fastballs usually coming out of his hand more effectively. And his overall success has benefited from having some rest.
And you'll see when you look at that center field camera that Brian McCann goes through a different set of signs than he does with other pitchers. Touch parts of the equipment from the shin guards to the chest protector to the mask. Takashi doesn't see well at night. Can't really see the fingers being put down there. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Well, it's tough to see here. It really is. The shadows and the way the lights are situated here at Turner Field. We used to have to paint. Well, Mac liked to do it anyways. He liked to paint his fingernails. Yeah, but we would put. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. Oh well, we would put white out. Something that I was very familiar in my early days of broadcasting.
You've always been very close to.
I like the white out. But you put the white out on the fingernails, which creates an easier. You don't want the catcher sticking his fingers way too low so that everybody else can pick up the signs. So there's an art in being able to hide the fingers, and that at the same time when it's tough to see. That's just another way to do it for Mr. Saito. That whiteout is very valuable. Great invention.
You're one of the few who still uses it, I believe. but that manual typewriter you got, I guess you do. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We are in the top half of the 8th. Friday night at Turner Field, and there's a big Braves fan in Marietta, Georgia, named Bonnie Lewis, who is 95 years old, and I know she's still up watching this thing.
She's waiting for the joke.
You already gave it to us.
No, I didn't. That was just a teaser. That was to set up the final one. By the way, it's going to have the same kind of snail flavor.
I can't wait.
Well, why not? Let's do it right now. Snail walks out, across the street, over to the guy's door, knocks on the door. The guy opens the door, looks around, doesn't see anything, slams the door. Snail knocks on the door again. He looks around, doesn't see anything, slams the door. Third time the snail knocks on the door, he turns around, looks down, sees the snail, picks it up, throws it across the street. 2 years later, the snail comes back to the door, knocks on the door. The guy turns, opens the door, looks down, the snail goes, "What was that all about?" What'd you do that for?
There is the first out. Comes via the strikeout of Schumacher. Hey, this is yours.
The know-how question of the game built by the Home Depot comes from Ken. And the question is, what happens if the umpire goes to the mound to break up a meeting and the players, coaches, do not break the meeting? Well, the general rule is they do eventually have to break up the meeting.
I don't know if that's going to be a satisfactory answer. Here's Brian Anderson pinch hitting.
There's all kinds of stall tactics that you can use and last-minute questions you can throw out to ask the umpire to create a little more time. But for the most part, it basically is the umpire's job to move the game along, especially when he thinks that the manager and the players are stalling for a potential reliever to come into the game. But I have had many times where the umpire have come out and I've asked him, what do you think I should throw to the next guy? I'd like to involve him in the process.
How do they break up that meeting, by the way?
Come on, let's go. We got to go. Come on. The reality is they'll turn around, and if they haven't had the movement from the coach they want, they'll turn back around and go, let's go.
Anderson grounds the 2-0 to Derek Lee, who throws to Saito. 2 down. So our third straight pinch hitter of the inning comes to the plate for St. Louis. This is Aaron Miles.
He's part of the old road team.
We're not going down that road.
No, we're not
going down that road
no,
again.
We're not. No way. No. Just thought I'd throw that in there, though.
Hal Golima contributes Houston streak. We're not going down that road.
No, it ends
anymore.
right here. A big out right here. What am I talking about? It's a big out.
This is pop up in the infield. Infante squeezes it. And that's it for the 8th. Braves still lead by 2.
To 6. This is the final regular season game for Bobby Cox on Peachtree TV and on a Turner Network. With that in mind, we wanted to share this statement from Turner Broadcasting. For nearly 20 years, we've had a front seat watching Bobby Cox guide the Atlanta Braves to unprecedented success, including that unforgettable season in 1995 when he directed the team to a World Series title. It's been a privilege to capture so many of the sights and sounds of Braves games across our networks during this time. He's truly one of the greatest managers in the history of the game. Again, that from Turner Broadcasting, and as I toss it back up to EJ and Smoltzy, guys, I'm sure you both share the same sentiment that the fans at home do. We hope it's not the last one on the Turner Network because we still got postseason baseball on TBS. We'd love to see him on there.
Right you are, Mark. Good having you with us here for the last couple of games here on Peachtree TV. Derek Lee leads it off. Didn't mean to. As he faces Jason Mott. Lots of changes for the St. Louis Cardinals. Aaron Miles is the new third baseman. Tyler Green has moved from second to short. Skip Schumacher now at second. And Jason Mott is the fourth St. Louis pitcher.
Converted catcher who can throw some gas out of the pen.
Like he was a promising catcher. Rated the best defensive by Baseball America after the 04 season. And in the Florida State League. And in 2006, he began that conversion from catcher to pitcher. Lee takes low, 2 balls and a strike.
191 career batting average will make that transition a little more acceptable.
Philadelphia has won in New York. Braves need to win to stay a game back in the East. The Reds going to extra innings with the Pirates. There's some firewood and a single to center. Derek is 2 out of 4. Rick Ankiel comes on to pinch run for Derek Lee. His first appearance in this series. Playing against his former team. Nate McLouth has homered, flied out, and laid down a sacrifice bunt.
Really been swinging the bat a whole lot better since his injury and down in AAA, and obviously now can qualify for the playoffs if the Braves get there. He's on the roster well before, or the day before you have to be.
And it's one thing to say, well, you can look at numbers and say, I got, I'm this for this, but it's just the contact he's making. He's really hitting the ball well, right? He's barreled a lot of pitches. Ball he hit tonight, a no-doubter. Had that grand slam taken away from him in Florida over the weekend. This looks like a much more comfortable, much more effective hitter these days. He's ahead in the count, 2-0 against Jason Mott. And Keel running at first. Nobody out. That ball's hit pretty well. But at the edge of the track, catch made by Rasmus. 1 down.
If you're looking to the top of the 9th, Billy Wagner's going to have to face the top of the order, which means Albert Pujols and hopefully no Matt Holliday.
That's why the Braves would love to get at least one more if they can chase Ankiel around here, make it a 3-run game. Because when you got that engine room coming up for St. Louis, you got a runner on, and those big thumpers coming to the plate. You can tie it with a swing. Alex Gonzalez is 1 out of 3. Received a very nice little gift in the mail the other day.
You finally got it from me?
From a long-time Braves fan, Dean David Collins, who was going to baseball games at Atlanta Stadium before it was known as Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, back when my dad was broadcasting. As Gonzalez swings through it, foul tip. It's 0-2. And what the good Dean used to do is record all the Braves radio games on a reel-to-reel, then cut highlights up, and he sent me a CD with about 20 of my dad's calls on there, including Hank Aaron's 500, 600, and 700. Some of the calls when he was catching foul balls in the net, just priceless stuff. So Dean David Collins, thank you much. Brought back a lot of memories driving down to the park today as I popped that thing in. Gonzalez goes down swinging for the second out.
Where's the net? Does it still have the net?
He does not have the net. It used to be at the house. I think I looked in the garage. It was in the corner somewhere, but he caught 7 in one season.
Yeah, see, that's a guy who understands taking ego and pride out of it, just catch it in the net. Unlike me.
Well, he didn't wait for it to get into the booth to try to catch it with the net. He was reaching. That thing was long. He was reaching out. Yeah, this.
See, if I had the net, I could have bladed all kinds of.
But you played it off. You played it off very well.
Oh man, that's what happens when you stand up. Golly.
Runner at first and 2 out for Melky Cabrera. I tell you, folks, if you haven't seen that clip by now, you haven't been looking. The American public has been bombarded with that, from TBS to MLB Network to Peachtree TV. It's been YouTube to Deadspin, as our producer Scott Cockrell points out. Probably going to be on one of those big billboards on 85 on the way home, too. Fouled off, 0-2. Braves trying to even this 4-game series at a game apiece. And if you're just joining us, it was a huge 6th inning. It's been the difference tonight. Braves scored 6 times and chased Chris Carpenter. Eric Hinsky has a bat in the on-deck circle. They pitch out, and Keel not going anywhere. Got to be special for Tony La Russa to look out there and still see Rick Ankiel, because when he made his comeback after the failure on the mound, and to come back where he homered, and it was an emotional time for La Russa to watch that, to see him make that return. That ball fouled on the left side.
It's just a great story. I mean, I can't tell you what a transition he has taken on, and just how mentally to deal with it the way he's dealt with it with such class. And I just applaud him. I think it's a guy you learn to appreciate and root for because of all that he went through in a short period of time, and then a surgery, and then comes back and still playing in the big leagues.
The 1-2 is nowhere near. 2 balls and 2 strikes. As you see, they're in the 11th now in Cincinnati, and they're in the bottom of the 2nd in San Diego. Giants beat them last night in San Diego. Fouled off. 2-2. Colorado's out big on Arizona. That's 8-1 in the 4th. Rockies have won 7 in a row. They won with that crazy steal of home yesterday by Chris Nelson, which was actually a botch squeeze play. He just left too early, turned it into a steal of home.
When it's going good and you got the magic at home, oh my, I've seen a lot of crazy things to help win a game. That was right up there with him.
Melky hanging in there. There is the steal of home. What was Nick Massett thinking?
I have no idea. I mean, he must have thought the guy on first was getting ready to take off to go to second.
Yeah, you got runners at first and third in a tie game, and your infielders are yelling, and his first instinct was to look back at first and second. By the time you look back to the plate, Nelson had it swiped. Ankiel on the move. Rounded into the hole, and Ankiel's going to be caught off second. They will tag him for the 3rd out. Tyler Green made a great play, kept that ball from going into left field. And he threw behind Ankiel. So we are going to go to the 9th inning. It's Wagner time. Got to hold them Braves.
Beat the Browns. September 20th on Peachtree TV.
All right, we're heading to the 9th. Braves up by 2. Rick Ankiel stays in the game in center field. Freddie Freeman is at first. And Billy Wagner is on the mound to try to close it out. A game started by 22-year-old Mike Minor. And the 39-year-old Wagner will try to save it. Tyler Green leads it off. Swings at the first pitch. Infante's back and makes the play in shallow right. Stay tuned after the game for the AT&T Game Summary. AT&T, rethink possible. So 1 pitch and 1 out. Here's Nick Stavanoa. Pinch hitting in the 9th. He had a rip. It's 0-1.
Wagner's only really given up one blown save against St. Louis in his career. Pretty impressive, 29 saves. McGuire, their hitting coach. Walk-off home run in the 11th. He can't hurt us tonight.
You are correct, sir. Stavino is 6'2", 240. Tried to bust him inside. It's a ball and a strike. .6'2", 240, and used to be a middle linebacker for the University of Houston. He's behind 1-2. Crowd of over 40,000 here at Turner Field. Trying to see if Billy Wagner can shut the door on St. Louis. Strike 3. Tag applied. 2 down.
This just an aggressive hitter swinging at the first thing coming out of his hand. And that's a 55, 57 mile an hour or foot slider that he got him to chase.
Here's Pujols with nobody on and a 2-run lead. Got him right where you want him. 0 for 3 with a walk.
This has been a year of the find a way to win Braves. They've used so many different people to be part of what's really been a magical run. This game would be one of those you look back and go, you know what? This is how they made the playoffs. Their backs were against the wall, but they were facing Chris Carpenter. He had a 4-1 lead. You saw his statistical category when he had a 3-run lead. Everything looked like, all right, they're going to be tied in the wild card or 2 games back in the division. And there's still hope with one more out. And there it is.
Fly ball to right field. Jason Hayward. It's over. Save to Wagner. And a big win for the Braves with 6 in the 6th. They win it 8-6.